Om Tat Sat, Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminita Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Welcome to everybody for this fantastic Friday evening. We are reading from text 39 of the Light of the Bhagavata today. And I would like to request somebody to read it who wants to volunteer to read this section from Srila Prabhupada's wonderful book. Who's there? Okay. Who wants to read it? Vivek?
In the autumn, there is a gulf difference between the day and the night. During the day, the extreme heat of the sun is unbearable, but at night, the moonlight is extremely soothing and refreshing. Similarly, Lord Sri Krishna is soothing for both the gopis and the mundane man in illusion and who accepts the body and as the soul. As long as living being under illusion accept the body or the mind as the soul, he will always unhappy like a man in the burning heat of autumn. But when the same living being become a devotee of uh, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, he once lives a soothing life as if under the cooling rays of the moon in autumn. Lord Sri Krishna is so merciful that he descends to reclaim suffering humanity and preaches Bhagavad Gita with the intense desire that all living beings give up all their engagements and take shelter of his lotus feet. This is the most confidential part of all revealed.
The example of damsels of Rajabhumi, Vrindavana, the gopis is given here because these eternal consorts of Lord terribly suffered the separation of Lord Krishna when the Lord was absent from their presence for his engagement in tending the cows in the forest. During the absence of Krishna, the entire day would appear to the gopis to be as unbearable as a hot day in autumn. The Lord so much appreciated this natural feeling of the gopis that he declared his inability to repay their intense love. Lord Chaitanya recommended the feeling of the gopis as the highest mode of worship that can be rendered to the Lord. The conclusion is that the regular practice of Bhakti Yoga will lead the devotee to the plane of intense love for the Lord, and that is the single qualification by which the conditioned soul is allowed to re-enter the eternal life of bliss in the kingdom of God. The threefold miseries of material existence are at once nullified by intense love of God, which is the ultimate goal of cultivating the human spirit. Thank you, Maharaj.
Om Tat Sat. So comparison is made here to the heat of the sun and the soothing rays of the moon. Cooling, soothing rays of the moon. And I'm sure if you ask all of you, do you like the Coimbatore hot sun? Or do you like the soothing, cool rays in the evening, the breeze and the moon and the sun? Most of you are going to say, I love the evening moon. Naturally, the soothing rays is good. Many times in winter seasons, we're going to find it very nice to be in the hot sun because the whole night is going to be cold and we like the hot sun on us a little bit. So there are periods when you like the sun, there are periods where you love the moon. So there are situations in your life where you feel like the moon's cooling rays on you. And there are situations in life where you also feel the hot burning sun on you. What does this mean? This is not some ordinary thing that you can tell me, oh, in the hot sun, you can take an umbrella and go, you feel pretty all right. Or you can say something like solutions like that. It's not about that. It's about comparing the situations that you are in. Because this type of a hot, burning situation is there even for the gopis, according to this verse. Even the gopis suffer the hot rays of the sun. How? Because when they feel that separation from Krishna, so Prabhupada is speaking about the Gopika Geetam. He's hinting about that, wherein, if you read the Bhagavatam, the Panchadhyaya, 5 chapters, beautiful portion of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, where there is description of the Rasa Leela, there is description of Krishna disappearing from there is description of how they get together again and how they have all these instruments coming in 5 chapters. You will see both these things happening. That's the soothing rays of the moon in the Rasa Leela, when all the gopis are having the wonderful enjoyment of Krishna's physical presence. Because he's so pleased with them. They do the whole worship. They worship Katyayani and Devi, and they very sincerely request Devi to grant them Krishna as their husband. And these gopis are just 8 years old. And they are completely, purely absorbed in Krishna. So they all perform this. They take in the early morning a cold water dipped in the Yamuna. They come to the bank of the Yamuna with wet clothes and everything, and they worship Katyayani Devi made out of mud and sand and everything together. And they make offerings of flowers, fruits, that is everything. And they sincerely pray. So sincerely they pray. Krishna watches them pray. And so sincerely they pray that all of them together are praying, give Krishna as a husband. It's not that, how can he be your husband if he's going to be my husband? Forget it. I'm going to pray alone. I'm going to pray alone because I want Krishna as my husband. It's not like that. Everybody's praying together. They have such good friends. They're all praying together, getting together and offering their prayers. It's so sweet. They are 8 years old. And Krishna becomes very pleased at their sincerity and their purity. So he performs another leela of stealing away their dresses when they are taking a bath in the Yamuna. He just bundles up all the dresses, takes it up the tree, and then from there he starts talking to them, saying that you have committed a very great offense going into the Yamuna naked. This is unacceptable. This is not as per Shastra. I mean, this is a beautiful dialogue because these of them are not, they're much beyond rules and regulations. Their love for Krishna is so pure. And so he accuses them of doing that. And he says that the only way to get atonement for this is all of you get out from there one by one, come and pay obeisances to me, and I will give you your clothes. This way, Krishna wanted to see them naked. By seeing them naked, it is as good as becoming their husband. A woman, Prabhupada explains that, will not be naked in front of anybody else but her husband. So by being naked in front of Krishna, he gave them that opportunity and their desire for being their husband. This is what I actually did. But at the same time, they started telling him, Krishna, stop joking with us. Please give our clothes back. It's freezing cold. We are inside the water. We can't get out of the water without our clothes. So they started talking to him. They said that we go and complain to your father. He said, what will my father do? He's an old man. Forget him. He can't do anything to me. And then they escalated it and said, came up to the point of saying, we go and complain to Kamsa. He said, very good, go and complain to Kamsa. Please go to Mathura and complain to Kamsa. Let's see what he will do to me. What can he do? Like that, there'll be a whole conversation I'll not give you unless you do what I'm telling you to do. But at the same time, they were enjoying the conversation, all these gopis sitting in the water. They were giggling it sometimes. They were so pleased to see Krishna up in the trees like that with their clothes. And it was completely, they were so happy. And Krishna was also very happy with them. And it was a very sweet reciprocation of a high level of love being exchanged there. And then they said, okay, and all that. And they came one by one naked and they paid their obeisances. And Krishna gave them the clothes. Then he expressed himself very deeply to them. Oh, dear gopis, you're so pure in your devotion to me. I'm so obliged to you that in the coming months, in the coming days, I will dance with you personally, give you the opportunity of my personal association. He mentions that there, and within the next some time, he calls them by playing the flute. They all know that he's going to call because he's already promised. And they all tumble down and go to the forest. There again, he teases them, saying, why did you come? It's not at all good for you. You've got husbands and kids and everything. It's not nice that you're leaving them and coming in the middle of the night to the forest to meet some boy like me. And, you should go back like that. He again speaks rules and regulations. The whole interaction becomes more juicy, full of rasa, when there is type of opposition in terms of rules and regulations, Vedic scriptures, laws, rules, mundane, which actually both the gopis and Krishna are above that. But Krishna keeps talking about that, rules and regulations, rules and regulations. And there is a moving scene. In this way, I'm giving you these references. It's filled with very close interaction with Krishna. But Krishna is saying, I want to reward you with something even greater than this. And he dances with them in the night. And each one of the gopis has got an expansion of Krishna with him. They are Swamsha, Vilasa expansions of the Lord. Each one gopi gets experience. Krishna is with me alone, like that. And with each one of them, he did different things. Right from kissing them, hugging them, embracing them, exchanging betel nut from his mouth to them. And everything is described in the Bhagavatam very deeply. He gave very deep association to them, which they'll cherish throughout and which is never given to anybody. In this way, these are all the moon-like, cooling, soothing, highly enjoyable instances in the gopis' time. But at the same time, in between, as they were all getting very absorbed and they even getting a little proud, saying that Krishna is with me alone, suddenly he disappeared from their midst and threw them into deadly separation. They were not able to take the absence of Krishna. And they started going mad, it is mentioned. The Bhagavatam says they're mad because they started imitating Krishna in madness. He killed Shakatashura like this. He did this. He did that. He did this. All of them are just shouting, yelling at each other, acting. And, they're actually mad. In separation from Krishna, they were mad. And they went on asking to the trees, do you know where Krishna is? The creepers, they went and asked Tulasi. They asked the deer. They were completely mad. But the Bhagavatam describes their madness and love of Krishna. But they were deeply suffering separation from Krishna. There is like something burning in the heat of the sun. Right? So then Krishna will reappear to them again on the bank of the Yamuna. And he will tell them, actually, he was watching everything. And he was experiencing the amount of love they have. And because their madness out of love for him and what all they were doing, everything he watched. And then he came and said, that Prabhupada is mentioning here, he said, my dear gopis, I, did this to just test you. I am so indebted to you for your love. And he said, I don't think I have anything with me to repay you, equivalent to your love for me. So Prabhupada says, the Acharyas say that Krishna sort of lost. He accepted I have lost. I don't have anything that I can repay you. Na aparaye ham. I don't have anything that I can be satisfied with this itself as the topmost thing that I have, love for me. And this way he goes into the Yamuna with all of them, and they get relieved of all their dancing stress and everything, and they play again with Krishna. So these were very intimate moments. So these are all moon moments, and their separation is like the sun moment. And this is completely on a different plane, on the plane of the, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Bhagavan, uh, Akhila Rasamrita Murti. He is enjoying in the topmost way with the gopis, and the gopis are getting the best and the topmost of all types of happiness and ecstasies because he's awarding it to them as a reward for their devotional service, selfless devotional service. So this verse compares that with the horrifying forgetfulness of Krishna, thinking I am this body and living a life roasted in the heat of the sun, separated from Krishna, completely lost and drying up with all your bhakti and emotions totally dried up. Don't know where you are, you're lost, you try to put on different types of relationships and they all fail and you die. Material life in comparison to this is real horrible. That's why unless you know Krishna's pastimes and you know the exalted nature of the love of the gopis, only then you can understand your material life is just a fig. It's nothing. It's simply zero. It's simply suffering. It's an illusion to think that you can be happy here. Only when you know in comparison what you have left and where you have come to. Therefore, by reading Krishna's pastimes, by hearing from devotees about his pastimes, we slowly develop a desire to achieve Krishna and Krishna Prema. And then all these things will pale into insignificance. Material life, material enjoyments will be slowly fading away. Right? Because you are getting in touch with a much higher enjoyment. So this can be spoken about a lot. We can have a lot of gyan in this. But when you start actually practicing Krishna consciousness, sincerely chanting, sincerely reading the Bhagavata and the Bhagavad Gita and stepping into it without any offense, then the more and more you do that, the more and more you start relishing the Bhagavata, relishing pastimes of Krishna, relishing the company of Krishna. Then only can you compare your material life to what you have lost and what you should be doing. That gives you the initial taste. Adau shata, tata sadhu sangha, ata bhajana kriya, anartha nivriti syat. So, pure devotion to the Lord is a very high state. And in that state, even the separation that the gopis are enjoying is real blissful. When in separation from Krishna, they enjoy very deep levels of bhakti, of separation, and they think more intensely about Krishna. That's why Vipralamba Bhava is advocated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the highest form of ecstasy. When the gopis are separated from Krishna, they enjoy even greater than they were with Krishna, when they were with Krishna. But in that madness, they become mad with love of Krishna, thinking of Krishna. The intensity increases to a great extent in their meditation of Krishna, right? So it's all explained by Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. There is a science behind this type of love that is being spoken about. And it is very deep. It's very deep. Compared to that, the shallowness of the very temporary, flickering material enjoyment that we seek in this material world is nothing. Chapala Sukha. It is mentioned in that beautiful song. Chapala Sukha means cheap happiness. The so-called cheap, very low-class happiness on the sensory platform. So this is compared here to the moon's rays and to the burning sun. We have these instances in our life, even in the material world, in material experiences also. When your karma becomes good, you have a different type of experience. The karma becomes bad, you have a different type of experience. So you can also say in my material life also it's like that. But those are all material experiences. But here, in comparison, it's being the ecstasy and the happiness being spoken about is what Krishna gives the gopis, the topmost enjoyment. You see, so some of the acharyas have described beautiful things and given commentaries on this topmost performance. You see, it all depends on whether you have faith and you climb into the pastimes of Krishna and you fall in love with Krishna and you start desiring association of Krishna. Then when really all these things really begin. If we remain on the knowledge platform, oh, I know about this, I know about that, like that, you don't really get into the platform of enjoying it. You have knowledge about it. That itself may give you some thrill, but even that thrill is considered to be nothing compared to the actual thrill and ecstasy of being there like the gopis with Krishna. So that's, there's Rishichari gopis also who desired that. When Ramachandra appeared in the Treta Yuga, the rishis in Chitrakoot and in other places that he went to, they were very enamored by the beautiful form of Ramachandra, his stately form, his beautiful looking body. Naturally, because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he understood that and he said that in this particular incarnation, I play a different role. But when I come as Krishna, you will join me and you'll be able to experience this happiness which you so desire. So it's mentioned that all these rishis and sages became daughters of the gopis. And those daughters of the senior gopis are the ones that danced in the Ras Leela also. Because Ramachandra said, I'll give you that opportunity to be with me. And I'll embrace you, I'll kiss you. All these things, he simply gave it also to the rishis and sages who are very deeply practicing tapasya and very renounced and all that. They were all born also and they got to actually dance in the Ras Leela and they were able to enjoy Krishna. So it's not that, you cannot desire. If you can desire by climbing into and falling in love with Krishna to that extent, then Krishna reciprocates with you. He actually reciprocates with you, like he did with the, rishis and munis in Ayodhya and Chitrakoot and all these places. So, feeling your pulse, each one for ourselves should ask, am I a lover of Krishna, a lover of the absolute truth? Am I moving in that direction? Am I slowly developing love for Krishna? In this way, if we can ask ourselves these questions, these million-dollar questions, it will be deeply, what shall I say, pushing us to go for it. And that's why we should try hard for it. Sometimes we think that it will come automatically because I've done my sadhana. But along with your sadhana, you should also learn to desire for it. It's not mechanical that I did my sadhana, it should come. We all go through that educational system. I wrote my exams, now I should pass. I studied, I wrote my exams. It doesn't matter whether you've understood the subject matter or not. I mean, that's not the criteria. We are so used to this mechanical way of doing things, superficial mechanical way of doing things in the modern system, modern science, modern education system, and the modern everything, that there's emotion involved in it. Just like I'm speaking about, there is deep understanding of these concepts. If you're writing, engineering or science and everything, you study Newton's law, and there's a whole understanding of Newton's law, which you may not really know. All you have been trained up in how to answer the question and pass the exam in flying colors. And it doesn't matter if I know Newton's law really or not, because I'm going to be judged in a different way. So I move up towards expecting that type of judgment. Similarly, many times in we religiously do also our Krishna consciousness. But still it will have benefit, no doubt. No doubt, because you touch the absolute truth in any way, it has got benefit. Sometimes we execute Krishna consciousness in the religious way. We don't really bother to awaken our emotion for Krishna. Right? That is when the soothing moon and rays happen to you, really speaking. And you feel, wow, I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. I'm not bothered about anything else. This experience with Krishna and his reciprocation, that's all. Everything else pales into insignificance. That is why the gopis, they're running and coming from their home. And Krishna is stopping them on the tracks and saying, hey, wait, wait, where are you going? In the middle of the night. My gosh, you young ladies, you came to pluck lotus? Here, please pluck the lotuses. Go back home. Your husbands are waiting for you. You see, he's teasing the whole process of, uh, actually, he's teasing the whole process of dharma. Because he said that in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Praja. And this is exactly what the gopis are doing. To hell with all the dharma and the rules and regulations and my duties. You are attracting me. I'm going to come there. And they come there and stand there and say, oh, dharma. But he's already said Sarva Dharman Parityajya in Bhagavad Gita. But he's teasing them. And they don't know what to do because they are so deeply in love with Krishna and they're so shy to talk, but their emotions are bursting out and they start shedding hot tears. Now, how dare you do this to us and ask this question in the middle of the night after blowing your flute, which nobody can resist, and we have come here and you're asking this dharmic question? To hell with all that dharma. Who cares? And you can see their words there. What's the use of these husbands? They're saying this in the middle of the night in the forest to Krishna. They are mad with love for Krishna, and Krishna wants to hear that. Actually, he's teasing them so that they'll express themselves. And it's mentioned there they had hot tears falling and they didn't know what to do. They were feeling so angry and they were drawing patterns with their feet, the big thumb, big toe. They were drawing patterns in the mud like that, each one of them. And they were, disturbed very much. Then one of them spoke and said, how rude you are. How inconsiderate you are. What words? These words are hitting me like nothing, this thing. How dare you talk like this to us? And each one starts speaking to Krishna. And Krishna starts enjoying their emotions of anger and everything because it's coming out of love for him, right? He's really a rasika. He's that I said, Akhila Rasamrita Murti. He's enjoying the rasa of their anger and the test of their devotion for him. So you will see that it's not that the gopis did not desire it intensely. Krishna put them to do you really desire this? Do you really desire my association in the middle of the night here in this beautiful full moon night? He wanted to test them. And they showed that, of course, we care hell for everything else. And then he danced the Raslila with them. So it's not that they didn't work hard. It's not that they didn't desire intensely. So tatra mulyam laulyam. The price you have to pay for Krishna consciousness is the greed you have for that. So Krishna is waiting for you to intensely desire. So there is an internal exercise that you have to do. I call it an internal bhakti gymnasium that is inside. You have to flex your bhakti muscles and you have to grow them, learning how to actually desire intensely for that bhakti, for that intense love. When the gopis do that, there's no better word to describe that in English. That's why it's mentioned kama, lust. They're lusty for Krishna. It uses the word there. They're intense kama for Krishna. But it's not anything to do with mundane lust. So I'm explaining that portion where Prabhupada described what it means that the gopis enjoyed both the heat of the sun and the soothing rays of the moon. So these are such beautiful compositions. They give us a deep understanding of the position, the exalted position of the gopis, and what is in store for us if we want it, if we deeply desire it. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. I stop here because the bell tolls. It's 8 o'clock. Any question or comment? I'll put on my headphones, by the way. How many of you sincerely want to actually achieve that status of an amazing, intense love for Krishna like the gopis?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I'm not.
Yeah. How many of
Yes,
you? Please raise your hands. You can raise your digital hands if your video is closed. Otherwise, if you don't know how to raise your digital hands and your video is open, you can raise your hands. Yeah, I'm just testing and seeing. Only if you desire, you're going to get it. That is what we understand from these beautiful pastimes of Krishna. So on this holy day, post Narasimha Chaturdashi, if you really desire, then Krishna takes note of it. Don't think Krishna is not here watching what we are doing. Krishna is there in each one of your hearts as Paramatma. Is fully conscious of this fact. And when we sincerely express ourselves, Krishna notices it. He notes it. Don't think it's not noticed by Krishna. 100%. 100%. So if you chant Hare Krishna and if you deeply read Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, follow these principles, then gradually you will develop a desire. That's what is mentioned in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Tada rajastamo bhavaha kama lobhadayaschaye cheta eter anavritam stitam sattve prasiddhati vidyate hridaya granthis chintyate sarvasamshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. It describes step by step what will happen to you. And the more intensely you will desire. So thank you very much. May Krishna bless all of you who are deeply desiring to have love of Krishna in that level of the gopis. Thank you. Right. Any question or comment? Thank you. Any question or comment? There's a question here. Maharaj, Pamho, deserve before you desire. Yeah, true. True. By doing your sadhana, by worshipping Krishna, you actually become gradually qualified. And then your desire is taken seriously by Krishna. Also, you won't desire sincerely unless you actually get purified. And sadhana purifies you. Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivriti Syat. Anartha Nivriti means everything that is of no value, a simple contamination will be taken away from your heart. You'll be purified. And then there is Ashakti, Ruchi, love of Krishna springing up, attraction for Krishna springing up, and you start getting a taste for that. Start getting it. So there's a whole process to it. So therefore, you can definitely become qualified, deserving, and you will start desiring because you get to know so much about Krishna. And you start, I also want to do that. I also want to experience that. You start desiring. So this is a process. It is scientific. It happens. And many great persons have done it. And Krishna speaks about it in Bhagavad Gita. Bahavo jnana tapaso putam madbhavam agataha. Madbhavam, they got the same bhava like me. Love. Gradually and they went. So this is the goal of life. And we shall do that. Okay. Right. Can we also say that if we desire seriously, won't he make us deserved? Possible, possible. Desire can always be there, but I'm saying you will desire also according to your knowledge, according to your experience and everything. But gopis are not simply desiring on the basis of knowledge. Knowledge which means knowing somebody called Krishna and his qualities, his pastimes and everything. It's not only that. For gopis, desire is more intense. It's based on love. Desire based on knowledge is one level, right? And desire based on purity and sincerity is another level. Then desire based on love is another level. Then desire based on mad love, like you see the goods, another level. There are various levels of desire, intense desire. So even in desire, there's gradations. I can desire, just like a thief, it is mentioned that there was a thief who saw a beautiful deity of Krishna, picture of Krishna with all these jewels and everything. And he said, wow, who is this person? He got a lot of jewels on him. I wish to see. He went on inquiring, and people told him he lives in Vrindavan in the forest. So he went into the forest to find out where is that guy called Krishna. He got a lot of jewels on himself, so I can take away all the jewels. He went to thief. He went to steal. He saw Krishna and he became completely attracted to him. He forgot all the jewels. He became a devotee. So he went on the knowledge that I can steal from this person all his jewels. That is the level of his desire. But that happened to be a desire for the supreme absolute truth. So Krishna rewarded him with love. You desire to take my jewels, no? And you desire to come and see me, no? And therefore I have to give you something for it. So in return, he got gradually, step by step, love of Krishna, and he became a lover of Krishna. So even desire has got gradations, and desire will intensify as we get to know more and more about Krishna and render devotional service more and more, and gradually, Krishna enters our consciousness. Okay? Right. Maharaja, our desire is but only the mercy of Krishna. No. You have an individual capacity to desire. See, this is what is the problem. You don't want to take responsibility for your desire. You may be saying, no, desire is only, Krishna is only making me desire. No, desire is your individuality. Krishna doesn't interfere in that. We have desire to leave Krishna and come to this material world, no? Otherwise, why will we be here? Did we not exercise that desire? Did Krishna tell us, leave me and go to the material world and suffer? No. Krishna bhuliya bhogavancha kare nikatasthamaya japatiya dhare. It is mentioned, the sequence. We have an individual capacity to desire, and we desire to stay away from Krishna. So that shows that desire is individual to you. You can desire. Krishna doesn't interfere with that. Even if you desire against him, Krishna makes the necessary infrastructure for you to sit and enjoy that. That's the material world. So desire is your responsibility, and you must cultivate it properly. You must hear about Krishna, then you'll desire for Krishna. If you constantly hear with all these politicians and everybody about money, about GDP, about success and achievement of people who made this money, that business, this and that, then you will want to desire that only. If you desire about Krishna, if you think about Krishna, you're with Krishna devotees, you hear his pastimes, you serve Krishna, you'll start desiring for Krishna. Very simple. Desire is based on association. If you associate with Krishna and his devotees, you'll desire for Krishna. Okay? Right? Hare Krishna. Good night. Have sweet dreams of Krishna. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.